a Lower Decks unboxing debut, too, and a living legend at Star Trek Vegas. Today on Trekland Tuesdays Live with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek, coming at you right here from the heart of Trekland, through Portal 47, of course, for the clarity, sanity, and big picture in Star Trek that you deserve. Hey, it is so good to be back with you here Tuesdays. If you are finding your way here, that's amazing. Thank you for joining us today. We're here every Tuesday live and then later on YouTube. I wanted to talk about, now normally I know everybody's global, and yes, I know despite the hassle, it's like San Diego. Not everyone is at Star Trek Vegas. A lot of people would love to be there. A lot of us that are going are wondering what this wacky Bally's one-off year is going to be like. But for everybody at home, you know you're going to be in tune for a lot of news, a lot of live tweeting, an awful lot of social posting by all your friends, as well as CBS Paramount itself. A lot of the companies are going to have news. So it's an exciting weekend, even if you're at home, right? And then 2 more weeks is Star Trek Day, and there'll be a lot of official news coming. There might even be some official news leaking out this weekend. We'll see who opens their mouth and blabs. NDA or no NDA. So yeah, it's kind of the biggest year, the biggest week. It's been probably the biggest year ever for Star Trek, but the one of the biggest weeks, if not the biggest week, despite the new official missions in the spring. Now those are still gearing up, and Star Trek Day, but it's one of the biggest weeks. So I'm going to be there. I'm heading out tomorrow, so I'm a little frantic right now. Also to say that we had a lovely time, a wonderful time, and I survived it. Look how good my voice is still. This last weekend with our Gene Roddenberry 100th anniversary Great Bird Origins tour here around LA. Had a wonderful, and ended up Sunday with Rod Roddenberry. Hopefully you're seeing some of the socials out there from that. So that was a good trip too. But you know, right now, boom, our eyes are on Trek Vegas and what's going to come out of that, whether they're there live or you're following at home. It is an exciting week. And of course, all these events aside, we have Fresh Trek back. And it might be the most surprising Trek of all for a lot of people. We've talked about this before, but Lower Decks, I think, holds the record for swinging the needle on public Trek opinion. People who were dreading comedy, they were dreading animation, they were dreading Family Guy in space or whatever it might have been. Although, no, Seth MacFarlane wasn't responsible. Oh, they were dreading Rick and Morty in space because Mike McMahon is responsible. But it's the same Mike McMahon that wrote the wonderful book Warped, the lost season, 7th, 8th season of Next Generation. But we've all seen how that needle swung. Now people can't get enough. They use up all of their storage time, their server time every month, just trying to keep up with the Easter eggs, the manic Easter eggs. But yeah, Lower Decks is a lot more than the visuals and the coolness and the canon wacky factor. There's a lot of pathos in the plots. And people are realizing that Lower Decks is a way slotted into canon right where it is, right after Nemesis and right before Prodigy. It has a very specific timeline and place, and the longer it's gone on, people have realized that. They are years ahead, but not too many, half dozen or so, ahead of the synth attack on Mars, the Romulus supernova itself, and they're all in that sweet spot post-Dominion War, post-Nemesis. So it's kind of interesting. It's almost like having a series set in the late 40s, early 50s. I don't know, after World War II. But point is that the world has caught on to the secret of Lower Decks. People catch on. And I think it may have inspired as much cosplay as any single other new Star Trek. Maybe even more cosplay than Enterprise. I say that. I know. I love all the blue overall coverall people. And you are much appreciated. And of course, we love Enterprise. I'm just saying, for the show that no one gave any credence to, everyone was so ready to dismiss it. Bang, it's in 3rd season, and people can't wait for the 4th. Plus, people get it that it's a wonderful way to slide in. Hey, we got caught up with Tom Paris. We got caught up with Riker and Troy. 10 years, 15 years, 18 years before we see them in Nemesis, even. I mean, in Picard, in Nepenthe in Picard. And of course, there's more to come on Picard's last final season 3 with the whole TNG reunion going on. My point here is that this is the week that ends the hiatus for all Star Trek. Lower Decks is back this Thursday. I believe our Europeans and our globals are going to get it fresh also the next day, so no drought for Lower Decks. Although I think they're still waiting on season 2 of Short Treks. So I just wanted to start off things with, to get the excitement going. Now, it's been out there for a while, but hey, to celebrate the coming of Lower Decks season 3, let's do a box opening. Some people only wait for hard media, but here's the box opening for season. Oh, look, I got 2 copies. You know what that means? Sometime in the next few weeks, we're going to be giving away an extra copy of season 2 Lower Decks. So stay tuned for that. But it's an awesome set. It's a Blu-ray. This particular copy is. You could get the steel books if they still have it. But season 2, they're doing an homage to every original series movie poster with the big massive poster. As it says right there, over 1 hour of special features. There's deleted scenes. There's animatics, the rough sketch animation. There are narrations. There's Mike is on here with some commentary tracks. Yeah, there's 2 or 3 special features. Anyway, it's over an hour extra plus the 10 half-hour episodes you get. So, a lot of people, for all the people that say they're not subscribing, they're just going to wait and get the DVD or the Blu-ray, well, there it sits. And for a lot of people who are waiting on the great EMP moment when we lose everything in the cloud and you want your hard media for the stuff you value the most, there you go. There you go. Lower Decks season 2. I think we're figuring out the pattern here in the new streaming era is the last season's, hard set DVD Blu-ray comes out maybe a month before, and this has been available for a while. It's just been so crazy busy. I wanted to save this for the preview week, but they're still out there. In fact, I bet the price has dropped a little bit. I just checked it on Amazon, and it's 28% below list, or 22% below list. So it's still a good time to grab season 2 and get it, have it on your shelf, and enjoy the commentaries and all the bonus features too. There's some how-to making of it. There's a documentary, a bonus feature just on the audio side, which, as you listen, is the thing that will fool you until you go back and listen. Because audio, like any other aspect of any production, live or on screen, if it calls attention to itself, then it's not done its job. Peeling down the layers of the audio tracking, everything from the music to the sound effects to the voices and balancing and all that, is an awesome avenue, another corner of the production that's cool. So the Lower Decks season 2 is out. Hope you can grab a copy and stay tuned, because I'm apparently going to give one of these away coming up here in the next few weeks. Alrighty, Lower Decks debuting Thursday across all these stations of the Paramount Plus network. Oh wait, that's 1970. Yeah, everywhere fine apps are sold or given away for free. The app is free. I know your subscription costs. If you are watching us later on YouTube, you're not catching any of the original chat because we edit down a short version, just 30 minutes for you. So if you want to experience the full chat, you can go look at the archival on Facebook, which who looks at Facebook for archives? Or you can just try to join us live some week. But of course, either way, if you're watching later on YouTube, feel free to keep adding comments. These things are timeless. They're evergreen. These topics live on forever. So come on, jazz up the YouTube and feel free to pop off when you can. And if anybody's on the road to Vegas, make sure and let us know if you haven't already. And a lot of folks are already there because heaven knows we need the scouting reports. No one knows where the hell any of them. I mean, we have our rough guesses and we kind of know, but we don't want to settle for that. The lobby bar at Bally's looks to be, So it ain't no masquerade nor iBar. So it'll be good to, now that it's been confirmed. Gary Berman mentioned in an interview that they are definitely going back to the Rio next year. For one, I'm looking forward to how to split first floor and 26th floor and watch those express elevators get a workout. What we need are some cargo transporters. That's what we need. But it's something we're going to have. We're going to make the best of it. It's going to be an awesome time. And one of the reasons it's going to be an awesome time is with a wonderful lady that some of you go back with me long enough. You heard about me talk about this in 2017 and 2018. She was over in the States from her longtime home in Australia, even though she was born in Texas, worked in jazz radio, blues radio with her first husband around the Great Lakes, around Detroit, came to LA just in time for, or just after, the Watts riots, or I should say the Watts uprising, because riot, we've come to realize, is a pejorative word, just like the race massacre in Tulsa. Only sadly, this was 40 years later. But because of the uproar out of that, some folks who were progressive, dare I say Lucille Ball, set the course of her entertainment company, Desilu, on the fact of trying to broaden the look of her workforce, both on camera and behind the camera. And that's when one Andy Richardson was hired on at the secretarial pool, working the front gate at the Gower Gate at Desilu. And that's where eventually, not only did she buzz people in and out, but she was eventually seen by Gene Coon and plucked to be his executive assistant, executive secretary, just as he was coming over to a little show called Star Trek, which is one of the first 2 one-hour dramas that Desilu made. One of the only 3 before it was sold to Paramount. Yes, Mr. Bluthorn, tear down this wall, and Paramount absorbed Desilu. But for that glorious, basically, year, the last half of the first season, the first half of the second season, and All the Ships at Sea, Andy was Gene Coon, Gene L. Coon's assistant. Gene L. Coon, the enigma who died so soon because he smoked a ton of Temperillos. He loved Temperillos. He died in 1973, just even after Star Trek, even as he was working on some projects still with Gene. He was the original idea machine with Gene, Data's forerunner, Quester, and then died before they could finish the project even. But between Star Trek and his time at Universal, Andy was his secretary. Andy was even secretary for Fred Freiberger for about 5 seconds in the 3rd season. What's amazing about her also is that she's still with us. She's a force of nature. She's 80. She's back over for a trip. We tried to get her on the stage. I tried to get her on stage last minute at Vegas, those 4 or 5 years ago. We had her in a small live show here in LA, teamed up with the Improv Generations improv group on a double bill. And that was a glorious night, and we have that recorded and on camera. She's been a guest on Portal 47 twice, once before we had cameras working, and once since. But finally, and thanks to the efforts of Nate Hardy out there, we got her over to Vegas. She has an hour on stage. I'm just going to tell everybody listening now, it's late in the day on Friday. It is 5 to 6, last thing in the day. And yes, we overlap the Strange New Worlds last 15 minutes. And yes, that's on main stage, and we're on the 26th. So I'm just going to say this. As much as I love the Strange New Worlds bunch, you're going to be seeing them around for quite a while. I don't know when we're going to get Andy, or Andrea, her full name, Kindred, her last name, the last few years, since Star Trek days. I don't know when we're going to get Andy back over next. So if I were you, if you're at Vegas, I would say, okay, take a taste of the Strange New cast and crew, see them on stage, but then midway through, make your way upstairs, get on that express elevator, however hectic that's going to be, and come see Andy. It's going to be a magical hour. Now, the other cool thing is that she is writing her memoirs. Her full memoirs, it's called Code Switch, From Slavery to Star Trek, is going to be out this fall. What she has done special for Trek Vegas, and also to kind of help fund the printing of the book, because she's self-publishing, but she has a professional editor working on it, professional book designer. And what you're going to see is at Vegas, she has a special 250-page hardbound excerpt that she's going to be selling and signing on Friday and on Saturday, and even on Sunday if she needs to stay over. She only has 250 copies. It's about 250 pages with photos, incredible photos, and some that I've shared with the portal and that we had in our live show, and some that are new to live audiences outside the pages of the book. She's got 250 copies of this excerpt from her big book, only for Vegas. If she has a few unsold copies, she's going to leave them behind while she goes back to Australia. If you're at Vegas, you want to catch Andrea or Andy at her table. It says memoir excerpts from Code Switching, A Family's Voyage from Slavery to the Stars. That's the full name of the big book. This is a short special. She will sign every single one of them. I'm sure she'll be taking tons of selfies as she goes, trying not to be too conservative, trying not to leave her with too many copies. So surely out of a few thousand fans, we're going to sell 250 copies of this book. It's going to be amazing. So it'll be a collectible because the big book will come out this fall. She's also considering a crowdfunder, if I don't jinx it here, a crowdfunder for an audiobook, because there's nothing like hearing a personal narrative read by the actual person. And again, this life of hers is incredible. Growing up in a historically black town in Texas, being married to a jazz rhythm and blues disc jockey, knowing that industry in the early 60s, then coming to LA, working on Star Trek. At the same time, you are helping plan some of the major civil rights meetings in LA, knowing Medgar Evers before his assassination, knowing Malcolm X, and knowing Dr. Martin Luther King, being Dr. King's driver. It's amazing. She has so many circles of amazement. I almost hate to say, ooh, look at her, she knew Gene Coon for Star Trek, because she has insight on that circle too. So amazing woman, and she's 80, and she is still an amazing, huge, big teddy bear force of nature of a woman. You do not want to miss her. You can find a TED Talk Australia she did about fighting with her mother over her hairstyle, where she slips in a little bit of the hints of the rest of her life from the 60s. That's on YouTube. Just look up Andy Richardson hair, TED Talk Australia, and you'll find it. She's going to be there all weekend, or at least Friday, Saturday, and probably Sunday a little too. Her talk is at our panel that I am so thrilled to host again for her. It's going to be on the secondary stage, right, from 5 to 6. Now, the Bally's experience for staging, for anybody who's been to Vegas, whether you're going this year or not, but especially those who are there, Bally's has very strict contracts with its union crews. And I am all for 100% for unions. But what that means here is they're very strictly on the clock. The stages, aside from overtime for the Saturday night gala, the stages are basically right at 8 hours. But that's 8 hours with setup time, breakdown time, and a lunch hour during the day. What that means is that each stage is only going to actually have about 5.5 hours of actual stage time. That's the main stage, the secondary stage, and the Roddenberry stage. But that also means that an awful lot of promised panels are not fitting where they were supposed to go, and things have rolled over. It also means that some of the fan panel submissions that were approved have been squeezed out. One of the things that was going to happen on the Roddenberry stage was recording some of my Trek Files podcasts live. Ooh, my God, I've been trying to do this for years, but we can never get the mix of paper and guests and, all that to happen. We finally had it. We're going to record Andy and the great Jeff Mandel, graphics illustrator that I've known by mail since our college days, met it during the Generations movie. Then he came and got to work in the art staffs later on and circled around with the bunch that Dave Blass brought back for Picard season 2. He's going to do, and who I inherited the Star Charts project from. He did the lion's share of the base work. He's going to be out of his cave, and I'm going to hijack the end of his panel in the Q&A session afterwards off stage, a signing and meetup thing on Saturday. But after that, since the Trek Files live session got squeezed off the Roddenberry stage, we're going to record 2 and hopefully 3 episodes each with Andy, and with, well, each in total, 2 with Andy, 1 with Jeff at my booth. And audience is free to come and watch and still give us a little bit of a live flavor. But we're going to record them at the booth, and we're going to be live. We're going to be live with John Champion doing his voiceovers. We're going to be live with the great Jessica Lynn Verdi doing her little sultry intro that you always hear recorded. I don't know, maybe we'll even have the crackly phonograph music. But we'll edit them, of course, as we need to. But they're all going to be for air later on. They're going to have a live vibe. So in a way, it's a second chance to come and hear Andy talk also. Aside from maybe hear Jeff talk in ways that he didn't have on his panel. By the way, he's doing 2 panels. I heartily suggest you go make time for him. As usual, in my point of view, some of the people on the secondary stage are the ones who are either rare to hear or people, again, they're Portal 47 material. They're people that you never get to hear otherwise from, and who are making all kinds of contributions to Star Trek. Besides those, those pretty actors who talk well and tell the story, or they perform the story, and they're the face of the series. But aside from that, the people that really make Star Trek. So anyway, I am so excited to, first of all, finally get Andy on stage. And again, thanks to Nate for helping make that happen. Thanks to Gary and Stephanie at Creation and everybody for, I know I pushed them on a rush last time and they didn't get it, but this time everybody gets it. And we're going to have Andy on stage, hopefully in front of a really good audience, even at 5 o'clock, overlapping the end of Strange New World's main stage panel. But hey, come on up. We have an hour. We have an hour, though. So I hope everybody can make their way up there and catch her. And then come by. Right now, we're estimating those Trek Files live recordings. And of course, they're only about 20 minutes or so. Probably we'll see how we do. They will be, we're saying roughly 2:30 Saturday to let everybody get into place. So for the next hour and a half, we're going to try to record 3 episodes. In the hinky moment, we might lose somebody. We might have to cut it just to 2. But there you go. That's our plan. And if you're hearing me, if you're in the sound of my live stream voice, I hope you can make it by. No chairs, but hopefully standing for a little bit of time there it'll far be worth it. Far be worth it to see us do our thing live, even if we're not auditorium seats in a stage. Anyway, I am so excited. Of course, tomorrow night, I'm going to be guesting at the Single Travelers and Newbies meetup at the lobby bar, so usually at the iBar at the Rio. And then, of course, at 9, we got some trivia. We have prizes to give away. They asked me to help come in and do this. We're going to give some trivia and prizes away, some big discount coupons for Star Trek wine. Like $25, I think, $20. Oops, maybe I shouldn't give it away. And then, of course, at 9 to 11, we're going to have the big annual 12th. Our 12th, I say annual. We had 2 weeks, 2 years off. Our 12th edition of the Landing Party for STLV, co-hosted by Roddenberry Podcast, John Champion, and Trekland and Portal 47, me. And our co-sponsors with Trek Movie and Trek Radio and Geek Nation Tours. Grab bags of prizes for the top 5 finishers. Team trivia, unless you're really arrogant and want to enter by yourself. It's a written sheet. If you've been there before, you know how we do it. It's a great time. And everybody's in a reunion mood by then. So, boom. It's actually Con Eve. Con starts on Thursday. This is the first year they've cut back to 4 days from the 5. They went to 5 for the 50th. And never cut back until now. So we'll see what's happening. Another reason we're feeling crowded on the stage is we lost those opening hours on Wednesday. So much going on. Ben Robinson from ex-Eagle Moss is going to be flittering around somewhere. A lot of 8 ads and a lot of people who aren't totally officially on schedule, but they'll be there hanging out. If the lobby bar becomes the new Masquerade hangout bar or iBar combined, we'll see. Dave Blass, the production designer from Picard season 2 and 3, that I praise to the hilt. He's a great guy. He's helped me with some research documents already. He's going to be paneling in, fitting in. They've just scheduled him a meetup to overlap. I've got the last half hour on the Roddenberry stage. We're going to do our State of the Trek meet up, kind of see where everybody is, let people sound off about them. We only have a half hour this year. So if you're around, you want to see that. I'm probably leaving some things out. Oh, well, of course, Portal 47 will have our live dive meetup for the members only, but at 4 o'clock, and we're still debating the place, we'll have a Trekland briefing party, some door prizes, some discounts, some huge specials, hopefully some special guests drop by and let me tell you about Trekland Treks and Portal 47. Hopefully we'll get some members in, take advantage of some huge big signing bonuses, get people into the portal as we go down this road. We're mixing more and more of the current creatives in with some of the folks from over the legacy years too. And I'm excited for the portal that way. I'm excited to get these damn pandemics over and get back to touring again. We did okay last weekend. We've got tours coming up for everybody going on the cruise. If people want to do that the day before and the day after, that's coming down, the big announcement. It's been on the page though. And of course, the West Coast Away mission, 9 days next July, plenty of time to save up for it. Anyway, we'll be talking about all that. Terrace of Geek Nation Tours will be sitting at part of my table this weekend, he and Christine, so everybody can say hi to Terrace again if it's been a while. Again, it's just going to be crazy. And for everything that I'm doing, everybody else is doing the same amount. For a lot of people, I know for the Trek Geeks, it's Dan and Bill, it's their first time back. I'm looking forward to the fan sets party. I'm looking forward to, well, everything. The Voyager documentary donors are having a meetup. I'm going to be there too. And I hear there's like regular con stuff happening also. So it's going to be an incredible time. Most of all, and it'll be a little wacky with the Bally's, but even with all that, I am so thrilled to get this lady, Andy Kindred. I'm so glad to get her on a stage in front of fans. I haven't felt this excited since I got Bob Justman on stage with just 2 or 3 years to go with his time on this earth. But we got him on stage one more time. It was back at the old Grand Slam in Pasadena. But I just said, Gary, Adam, we've got to get Bob on stage one more time and let these fans, our new fans of the TNG era, know who this guy was for the original series. Much less the role he had helping kick off the Next Generation, being part of the original brain trust with Gene of the veteran folks. So this is the first time I've done that in a long time, and we tried, and so now that's coming full circle, and we made it. So I'm just so glad to have Andy on stage. But there's going to be an awful lot of folks who have managed to get their way to Vegas. So I can't wait to see Jeff on stage with folks again. It's been probably 10 years or so. He says it's been 30 years since he's been at a real Trek convention, because he was at some Firefly conventions when he did graphics for Firefly and did the blueprints for the Firefly cross sections and the star charts for the Firefly universe. So he says it's been 30 years. It's been since the 25th anniversary Grand Slam here in LA. We'll see. But it's going to be Dave Blass's first big convention as a professional, not as a fan. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So many other folks. The Roddenberry Scanning Project. I think there's something going on with, I know Darren Doctorman and Mark Altman and just a ton of people besides, all those actor people. I just want to let everybody know about that. If Andy does not sell out of her excerpt book, then we will figure out something. We'll come up with a plan, and we'll get that out to everybody as painlessly and seamlessly as possible. The big bugaboo is nobody wants to deal with postage. So we'll see what we can do about that, assuming she has anything left over. All right. So I'm excited. And yes, I'm excited also to, down the line sometime, have a copy of this Lower Decks to share with everybody. Meanwhile, remember, Lower Decks is out this way. As if I had to remind you, Lower Decks is back. And yes, the studio for screeners, for reviewers, sent out the first 8 of the 10 out of the gate. So you're going to be seeing a lot of very informed, excited reviewing and vague posting about all things Lower Deck, even as these episodes, unspool week by week. You're going to see a lot of fast action review memory alpha posts, everybody coming up with their Easter egg frame grabs, have been done for weeks. One thing I want to make sure and remind you of is our Patreon is happening. We're gonna, after the die down of these crazy summer weeks, the tour over, the Gene tour is over, Trek Vegas will be over. Can't wait to see what we do here. We're going to add a few more dimensions. I've already promised some people some things. We're going to see what happens. So thank you once again, and I invite you to join these folks at my very simple Patreon. Our TTL club, as usual, Diana Hopkins, Lawrence Todd, Keith Rombach, Blaze K, Robin Weiss, and Marie Siegel. I know she's in Vegas. Justin Porteous and Nathaniel Robinson. Sorry there. I went to the Bahamas for a second. Andrew Brzezinski and Pranakasha Productions. And, of course, our live wires, Rusty Harrell, Hubbard Gunn Johnson, Robert McLean, Alan Hoensi, J.R. Poole, Byron Bailey, Dave Gregory, Gay Clevin Lundstrom, and Casey Shefsky. Thanks so much, gang. And if you want to join in, it's $5, $10 a month. Very simple. Patreon.com/Trekland Live. I really appreciate it. We are slowly but surely building up what we're doing here on Trekland Network. All that. Hey, also to say that the Trek Files, I mentioned we're going to do some live. You'll be hearing them soon. But for right now, amidst the insanity, it's a great time to have our hiatus break. We'll be back after Trek Vegas. So in the meantime, you can go listen to the back catalog. It's 8 seasons. The Trek Files on Facebook. That's also where the documents are. Although the audio is everywhere you would catch your podcast. It's hashtag Trek Files on Twitter. And roddenberrypodcast.com is where you can get all the great Roddenberry podcasts. Hey, I'm around on Twitter at LarryNemecek.com. It's actually Larry's Trekland on YouTube now, where you're watching me if you are. Please like and subscribe. Same thing on Instagram. Same thing on Facebook. And of course, portal47.net. There'll be specials at Vegas. I hope people can take advantage of that. The TeePublic store is up as well. They randomly have sales. They don't tell me. They just pop up there. We try to let you know when the stuff is cheaper, when all our swag is cheaper. So while I batten down the hatches here and get myself into a Vegas-type mood and mode, we will see you maybe this weekend, Treklanders. If nothing else, we will see you next Tuesday. All righty? So till then, till whenever we cross paths, we don't know what the hell is happening out there with the germification and the virusiving, but whatever is going on, just stay healthy, okay? Do all the things. Stay woke. Check your sources. We're heading into campaign season. It's going to get weird, if not already. And trek well, everybody.